Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and we're going to talk about World of Warcraft. Surprise, surprise. This is Azeroth United. We have a great show lined up for you today. We'll be covering WoW Remix, Mist of Pandaria, Cataclysm Classic release, the Blizzard store, and the extreme monetization of World of Warcraft. And we're going to be doing a little bit of discussion on add-ons and kind of some of the direction going there. So we'll cover a little bit of add-on conversation there and do a little bit of add-on spotlight. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And as always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast or have a particular topic that you would like to hear discussed, please email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can join my Discord server. I'll put the link in the show notes, but yes, I have started a Discord server. You can join. There's nobody on there yet. Well, no, that's not true. There's one person on there, but that's a friend of mine. So so feel free to join on there. If you don't like sending emails, you can pop onto the Discord. Probably going to be a little dead for a while, but the more people we get to join, the more conversations we can get going. So yeah. Love to see you there. So I'll put the link in the show notes there. I'll get a fancy custom link at some point in the future. But for now, the link to the Discord will be in the show notes. If you do want to support the show, a way you can do that is by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out the distribution. So if you're inclined to do so, we'd be very grateful. All right. Before we get on to the news, do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in WoW. Last week was a very busy week because it was the dungeon bonus event in Dragonflight, and I ran some dungeons. Let's see, I did Fury Warrior, I did 8, the Mistweaver Monk I did 4, and the Shadow Priest I did 4, although I switched to Holy for the Keystones because I was trying to get into keys, and now I regret that decision because, look, it's one thing to be frustrated if somebody doesn't perform the way that you want, or if things don't go the way that you like. I get that. I do. But, it's okay to just kind of be chill when dealing with bad problems in game. So we had a particularly bad Algathar Academy, and we got through the first 2 bosses, and it was okay, but everybody was struggling with Veximus, and it wasn't a high DPS group, and so the fight was taking a little bit longer. It's Tyrannical Week. I was struggling with the healing because I'm not used to healing on a Holy Priest. So the mage left the group and then whispered to me, "Never heal keys again for the sake of other people." Now, that's hurtful. I don't feel like that's necessary. Okay, so maybe I wasn't the greatest healer that ever lived. Fine. But you don't need to be nasty about it. You could just say, hey, you know what? Why don't you try running some more heroics? You could probably use a little bit more practice. Maybe run some Mythic Zeros. Hey, if you ever want to run a zero, I'm willing to help kind of guide you through. No, they went straight to nasty. Now, I get it. People are frustrated. Tempers run high. You snap out. I get it. But, come on. Don't be a jerk. Anyway, sorry. I just, that really bothered me because I felt like I've left plenty of dungeons in a huff. Don't get me wrong. I've had my fair share of this person's an idiot. They don't know what they're doing. I'm leaving. But I've never whispered them after leaving to try and give them one more insult. That's a bridge too far, in my opinion. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I deserved it, but I didn't feel like it was worthwhile. So, yeah. But anyway, like I said, I did 8 keys on the Fury Warrior. I did 1 of each because I felt like that was necessary. And then I did some on the Mistweaver Monk, which I did a better job of healing on the Mistweaver, I swear. So, yeah, that was fun. And I mean, yes, the Mythics are harder. They're harder. It's harder. Mythics are hard. I did mostly +2s. I did 1 +3 on the Fury Warrior. But you know what? I like the difficulty Mythics are hard, and they should be scary. They should be challenging. You shouldn't be able to just jump in and be like, woohoo, I'm just kind of winging it here. No, you have to know what you're doing. And, case in point, my holy priest, who I've since switched back to Shadow. It's really important that you know what you're doing and you know what you're getting into, and people are going to get frustrated. Now, I'll say this. You can't bust a 2, all right? Because you're not depleting it. You might not time the key. You might not finish the key. But you're not busting it because that person will just get a different 2. It's not like their key is going to revert to a 0 and now they got to run a 0 to get a key. No, they're good. It's the same. It's still a 2. So calm down. It's okay. Shh. Breathe. All right. I jumped onto Cataclysm Classic because I kind of wanted to see where all my characters were, because I have characters from Vanilla Classic that I've leveled up through various stages of the game, and I think my Death Knight is 71 or 72. I found it really difficult to get going in Classic because honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I felt so lost. For somebody who's played Classic for so long, I felt so lost logging into Classic and trying to how to do the talent trees, and it was confusing. I had to look up talent trees on Wowhead, which, I mean, okay. So for retail, yeah, and people do that for vanilla too. But I felt like I knew what I was going to do, and I logged in, and I felt like I was going to be a badass. And nope, I had no clue. So it was fun. So I'll probably try to level up a couple characters in Cataclysm. I know I've kind of shit talked Cataclysm Classic here in the past, but honestly, it really has nothing to do with the game itself. It's all about the loss of the old world and the old zones and some of the old locations that I really enjoyed from Vanilla, Burning Crusade, and Wrath. So, all right, that's it for that. And like I said, I really am trying to kind of narrow down my my picks for who I'm going to run Keystones with this season. Looks like it's going to be the Mistweaver Monk and the Fury Warrior. So, yay. Another season of getting rejected for keys on a Fury Warrior. Woo! Even worse now because of the set bonus. Okay, so this set bonus thing is driving me crazy because I literally went through and I ran in a target dummy. I ran through trying on both my 3-piece or my 4-piece season 3 and my 4-piece season 4. And my damage was definitely higher on the 4-piece season 4, but not by a lot. And it was way harder. I had to be almost perfect. Whereas with the season 3 with that build, it was a lot more forgiving. And I'll tell you, I hated it in season 3, but now that it's gone, I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of easy. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get used to the old build again. I don't know. I'm so frustrated right now with the state of Fury Warrior and the state of tier sets and how they force you to play a certain type of play style. You know, my wife plays a protection paladin. She plays the same no matter what her set bonus is. Okay, so she might have to do some things a little bit differently in terms of cast this spell and that, but not you have to run a completely different build depending on what your tier set is. I don't like that, but all right, that's enough out of that. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, there's a few Blizzard store news items that I want to get through here. I can already hear you rolling your eyes. Okay, continue. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, look, Blizzard's here to make money. They are. They're not here to just provide you with a game out of the goodness of their heart. They're making money. So understand that they're going to take advantage of opportunities to make money. Now, having said that, if you feel like Blizzard is a greedy company and they don't fix their game and all they do is sell things on the cash shop, I get it. I get that that's how you feel. But this is news, and we're going to talk about it. So calm down. All right. The WoW Classic Cash Shop has opened its doors, and there are a variety of items for your Cataclysm Classic collections. Woo! All right. So currently in the shop inventory is the Auspicious Arborworm mount, which was the was it this Dragonflight mount, or I forget when we got that one. Or maybe it was the 6-month mount. Anyway, it's a dragon riding mount that's now available in Cataclysm Classic for normal flying, I guess. The Kalawak Whalebone Glider mount, the Reawakened Phase Hunter mount, which was, I believe, the Burning Crusade. So the Phase Hunter was the Burning Crusade deluxe mount, and the Whalebone Glider was the Wrath Lich King deluxe mount, I believe. So you can buy them if you didn't buy the deluxe editions of those. In it as well, there's the Pebble the Penguin pet. There's the Dark Portal Hearthstone effect, the Fish Speaker's Lucky Lure toy, and the Path of Illidan toy. So enjoy the WoW Classic Cash Shop. I mean, that's... we all knew it was going to happen at some point, and it has happened. So there it is, the WoW Classic Cash Shop. So enjoy that. In the Dragonflight side of things, there's the Mrrrggkness pack. So this is a Murloc themed item pack on the store right now. When I checked it was like $32 or something. But it's going to vary depending on how many of these items you already own. So if you have some of them because of different deluxe editions or whatever, then your price will change. So, but it's the green Snugglefin Murloc Romper, which is it's a hoodie romper looking thing, transmog. The Baby Murloc Satch Shells back slot transmog with 3 different colors. This one I know I have. The Merc Morpher toy and the Mercastraza pet. This is all through May 27th. So, yeah, if this is something that you're interested in, go check it out on the store. Like I said, it was like $32 for me, but if you just want the transmog, which is the romper, you can get that separately for $20 or €20. You can get the Snugglefin Romper, which is the hood, the pullover, the sweatpants, the slippers, the gloves, and the backpack. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool if you like that. It's funny because sometimes I get really serious about my transmog, and it's like, no, I'm going to have like a really good, serious, high fantasy transmog. And other times I'm wearing, absolute garbage and just trying to have fun. So sometimes when the mood strikes, this is the type of thing that I might wear. So I don't know that I'm going to buy this, but it is something that I could see wanting to wear components of at certain times. So I'm not going to say that I won't buy it. I'm going to say that, I'm just, I'm looking at it and making a decision. So we'll see how that goes. $20 is pretty average for transmog these days. So, and like I said, we know Blizzard's just being so greedy. Oh, Blizzard's so greedy. All they do is they want to make money, and they're just trying to make. I don't want to fix the game. They just want to make money. We get it. We get it. We get it. Calm down. Calm down. All right. In other news, the Twitch drop for the Eye of the Legion pet will release on May 16th. So they're coinciding this with the release of WoW Remix Mist of Pandaria, which will release on May 16th. So you can watch 4 hours of Warcraft Twitch streamers from May 16th through May 30th, and you will earn the Eye of the Legion pet. I will definitely be streaming for some of this. So if you are interested in checking that out, you can see me on Twitch TV at Denethar01. And yeah, I'll be streaming some season 4 content, maybe some Mist of Pandaria. Who knows? I would actually be kind of fun to just to try it. So we'll get into the Mist of Pandaria stuff a little bit later in the show. But yeah, the Twitch stream pets continue. Used to be a mount, now it's a pet, but it's okay. And this pet is kind of weird looking. It's like a green eyeball. So if you want a green, I mean, I guess it's good for like a warlock or a demon hunter maybe to have that as a pet. But anyone else, it's going to be kind of odd, I think. I don't know. Maybe a Drakthir if you're, or an Evoker if you're just like, well, I don't know what this green eye is for, but it's following me around. I could see that kind of RP going. That's fine. So, but yeah, the Eye of the Legion pet, Twitch streaming from May 16th to May 30th. Watch 4 hours and you'll get your pet. If you have not linked your Battle.net account to Twitch TV, I will post a link to an article in which it is explained how to do it. It's really easy. And then you can get all of the Twitch drops. It's actually really fun because then you get to watch some streamers and maybe watch some streamers that you normally wouldn't have watched. I really like watching streamers with low viewer numbers because, give them a boost. Why not? I don't need to go watch the Asmongold's and the whatever. I'm not interested in that. They're making enough money off of these people, so I'll watch someone else. All right. I think that's it. Well, okay, so the other news, it's not really news, it's because we already know it, but just a reminder that Cataclysm Classic will launch on May 20th. I don't know that we've gotten a launch schedule yet. I didn't see that. Let's see. Did we get a launch? Yes, we did. 3 p.m. Pacific globally. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to start on May 20th at 3 p.m. And then the season, which is basically just the PvP season, is going to launch on May 28th, which would be the following Tuesday. So we'll start on Monday, then we'll go through an entire week. And then on Tuesday, the 28th, we'll start the PvP season. And then the raids, which are Bastion of Twilight, Blackwing Descent, and Throne of the Four Winds, will open on May 30th at 3 p.m. globally. So keep an eye on the Race for World First there. It's actually really interesting because, we've done this now 3 times. I mean, the original launch of Classic, okay. But the expansion launches, this is the 3rd one. This is the first one that's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a little more structured. Yeah. And so there's a lot of content that's going to show up in the game that, we normally, I don't know. We'll see. May 30th is the raid launch. So if you're interested in watching the air quote Race to World First and see how long that takes, check it out. I'm curious to see how it goes because these raids were pretty easy comparatively speaking, but you never know. I feel like the heroics were harder than the raid, honestly. The heroics when it launched, because it's a smaller group. So you had just a tiny little group of people, 5 people versus a 10 or a 25 player raid. It made a huge difference. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cataclysm Classic. It's coming next week, and the week after that, it's going to be all Cataclysm. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot of War Within news while Cataclysm Classic is kind of having its moment. I would expect there to be quite a bit of information that gets released after the raids launch and after the raids gets cleared and all that. I'm assuming they're going to clear the same day, but we'll see how that goes. Cataclysm Classic. Now, there was something that dropped right after I recorded the show last week. It came out, and so I completely missed this news item because it took place entirely during the week that I was not recording. But Blizzard launched a Welcome Back weekend. So this is May 9th through the 13th, so it's obviously over now. But they made Classic available to inactive World of Warcraft accounts. So the accounts that normally could only go up to level 20 on retail and can't log into Classic at all, they made them available for 5 days over a weekend to kind of get people back into, I'm going to rejoin my guild, or, I'm going to check this out for the first time. And I think that's kind of interesting because they haven't really done that for Classic. They've done it for retail, obviously. But they haven't really done it for Classic. So, I don't know. Maybe this is a new thing. So anyway, it was interesting. I just wanted to point that out that that did occur. So Cataclysm Classic launching May 20th. PvP season starting May 28th, and the raids starting on May 30th. So I will have this article for Cataclysm linked in the show notes so that you can get those times. But be ready, because here it comes. All right, let's move on to this week in World of Warcraft.
Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
In Dragonflight, this is Season 4, Week 4. We're just trucking right along, getting through this. I'm really curious to see how far this season goes, because I honestly think it's going to go 15 weeks, maybe, max. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe 16. We'll start taking bets here in a couple of weeks once Cataclysm Classic launches and we have a clearer road picture of the War Within. I'm gonna make my prediction on that. So, all right. The Mythic Plus affixes for the week are Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. Fortified, non-bosses have more health and deal 30% more damage. Afflicted, while in combat, afflicted souls periodically appear and seek the aid of players. They must be healed to full or dispelled before their cast Afflicted Cry goes off, or they will reduce all players' haste by 100% for 10 seconds. This effect stacks. This one is nasty, but it's not as nasty as it used to be. First of all, that Afflicted Cry, it's not, I think they increased the cast time to 12 seconds. So theoretically, you should be able to dispel both within that time period. Yeah. So it's not as bad as it used to be. This is actually manageable. And then Raging, non-boss enemies enrage at 30% health, becoming immune to crowd control other than interrupts. Now, this is not as nasty as it used to be. The biggest difficulty here is if you have a mob that's a high damage mob, casters generally, you need to stun them before they get to 30% health so you can burn them down, or just burn them as fast as you can, or make sure you're doing interrupts or pop personals. Yeah, this one gets nasty. Now, remember, Raging only shows up at plus 10 Mythic. So if you're doing plus 7s or plus 9s, you won't have to deal with Raging. You do have to deal with Afflicted after 5, but you won't have to deal with Raging. So this is a push affix, and you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. So, yeah, that's It's not a bad week. I actually don't mind this week. I mean, I don't mind at all because I'm only doing twos, threes, and fours. So Fortified it is for me. But yeah, Afflicted is not bad. I actually don't mind that. I might try and get into a 5 on my monk maybe by the end of the week. Afflicted's actually kind of fun on the monk because the ancient teachings will heal the afflicted mobs. So I can Jadefire Stomp, Spinning Crane Kick, heal both of the afflicted mobs. So, I'm just saying. Not that monks are great or anything, but they're kind of great. All right. The Awakened content for the week. So we've got Vault of the Incarnates, which is the raid. So, just like we had 3 weeks ago, Aranog, Taros, Primal Council, Senarth, Dathia, Grim Totem, Diurna, and Razagath. This, when I am remembering Dragonflight, I'm going to remember Vault of the Incarnates as the best raid. Probably in the same way that people remember Castle Nathria as the best raid of Shadowlands. Some people are going to remember Amir Drasil as the best raid, and that's fine because it was really good. Aberrus stank. That was garbage. I hated Aberrus, but that's just me. All right, so the last hurrah quest this week will be the Dragon Isles. So assist the Tuskar with their community feast, the Mrrrggkness with their hunt, and help reclaim Dragonbane Keep. So the stuff that we did in week 1, we're doing it again. Reputation gains with the Loam Niffin. I'm sorry, that's last week's one. So this is going to be the Mrrrggkness Centaur, the Iskar Tuskara, and the Dragon Scale Expedition are the reps that are going to be increased by 50%. So you're going to want to complete the Grand Hunt, the Community Feast, and the Siege on Dragon's Bane Keep. Yeah, And you'll get if you do those items, you'll get veteran gear from those. Everything else will give you adventurer gear. Now that we've gone through an entire cycle of this, we know how this works. And the non-last hurrah world events give adventurer gear. The last hurrah events give veteran gear. So there you go. And then if you turn those in, you'll get the cache of Awakened Storms, which will give you a champion piece. So yeah, there you go. I like the way they're doing this. That's also where you get your spark or your spark splinter. Yeah, this is good. Make sure you're running the raid to get your bullion. We should be up to 4 bullions now, or 6 if you did the quest last week for the Dragonflight dungeon bonus event. So that means that if you do the raid this week and you're all caught up on your bullion, you should be able to get your 3rd bullion item, which is nuts. That's a weapon, that's a trinket, that's a ring, that's great. I love it. I love the bullion system. I love how Blizzard has implemented it. I feel like it's really strong. So, all right. The bonus event for this week is the time walking for Wrath of the Lich King. So that's 50% reputation increase for Wrath of the Lich King factions. Pick up the quest A Frozen Path Through Time from Khazra in Valdrakken. Defeat 5 time-walking raid bosses or dungeons, and get a cache of normal raid gear. Woo! You can also pick up the quest Disturbance Detected Ulduar from Vormu in Dalaran, which requires you to defeat Yogg-Saron, loot the Titan Prison Fragment, make sure you loot it before you leave, and you will be rewarded with a cache of time-warped treasures, which will give you a hero track item from Ulduar. You also have a chance to get mounts and pets and things like that. So technically you could get invincible. I'm just saying. Because it's from Wrath of the Lich King, not just from Ulduar. So it's definitely worth running on a couple of alts if you can. If you don't have invincible. Or if you just want to get some players some gear, or there's some transmog. It's really fun. The time walking raids are easy. They're simple. So run time walking Ulduar. It's fast. It probably takes you an hour max. And then you can move on with your day. The dungeons are Azul Narub, Gundrak, Halls of Lightning, Forge of Souls, Nexus, and Utgard Keep. So have fun. We have a double bonus event this week. This second one is the Pet Battle bonus event. I love how they're just sticking this in with random other bonus events now. They're just like, here, I don't know, do the pet stuff. It's time to give back to... This is the Sign of the Critter buff. Battle Pet experience gained increased by 100%. And you can pick up the quest The Very Best from Khazra and Valdrakken. Defeat 5 players through Find Battle with a team of level 25 pets. And you'll be rewarded with an ultimate battle training stone. Whatever. It's fine. I always kind of poo-poo the Pet Battle bonus event. But there are people out there who do it and they love it and they're having a great time. So you know what? Good for them. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you're having a good time with your pet battles. You know what? Every now and then I'll do it. I'll get in there and I'll start doing some pet battles, and then I'm done. I'm not doing them anymore. So there you go. The PvP brawl for this week is Arathi Blizzard. Put away your bathing suit, pull out your parka, and enter a winter wonderland as the Arathi basin you know and love gets a fresh coat of ice and snow. You'll be racing your way between a farm, stables, mine, lumber barn, and blacksmith through piles of snow and over a mostly frozen lake. One more thing, the weather forecast calls for a bit of fog of war. We hope you're prepared for the weather. So this one's really fun. The lake is frozen, so you can run from the blacksmith straight across to the stables or to the farm. The fog prevents you from seeing anything from the lumber mill, so the lumber mill becomes much less tactically advantageous. It's fun. And if you do a brawl, you'll get the quest Something Different, which requires you to win a PvP brawl, and you get rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. This is not a bad one. I like it because it takes an existing battleground and changes up the gameplay enough that it's fresh. It feels different. I don't know. Some of them are so out there that it's like, wow, this is like Cooking Impossible is one. They're just so out there, and you're like, this doesn't even feel like a battleground. And then there are others that are like, yeah, this is a slightly better version of the Temple of Katmagu or Warsong Gulch. And you're like, it's fine. This one is different, and it changes all of the dynamics of Arathi Basin. So I think this one's fun. I think this one's worthwhile. So definitely check that out if you're interested in the PvP brawl. And definitely it's worth the Marks of Honor because you can use those for transmog from old PvP sets. All right, hotfixes for the week. We've got quite a few hotfixes in here across the different iterations of WoW. We're going to run through these really quickly. All right, so first off, in Dragonflight, we have a fix to the Azure Vault. Fix an issue causing the time requirement reaching 2 and 3 chests on Mythic Keystone difficulty was lower than intended. Okay. I mean, yeah. It's important to make sure that these timers are correct. That's all I'll say. Other items, veteran and champion track items obtained from outdoor activities should now be eligible for conversion at the Revival Catalyst. This fix is retroactive, so if you got them sitting in your bags, you can convert them to Catalyst. You can convert them to tier using the Catalyst. So if you've got your suffused gear or your whatever, the dreaming gear, the stuff but it has to be veteran or champion. It can't be adventurer level gear. Also, veteran champion track rings, necklaces, and armor obtained from outdoor activities should now be eligible for socket upgrades. This fix is also retroactive. So again, really cool that you can put your 3 neck sockets on a veteran or champion neck. I'm still stuck with a adventurer neck on my monk, but what are you going to do? I think I'm just going to craft the neck there. For the Rostrum of Transformation, fix an issue causing the Rostrum to require level 70. Oops. And non-player characters cheered up Thomas Bright, who was feeling a little low. I'm not sure what that means. Was he sunk? I think he was sunk into the ground. Anyway, doesn't matter. Sometimes the patch notes are a little cheeky, and that's okay. For Cataclysm Classic, fixed missing text in the Guildmaster's rank permissions panel, so it is clear that the checkbox controls whether the guild rank is considered an officer rank. Thank you. That's very nice. It's just, if you've never been an officer or been in charge of a guild, trying to set up the ranks in a guild is a nightmare. So just thought I'd point that out. Fix an issue that would cause the cockroach cabins to be uninteractable, preventing the daily roach quest from being completed. Okay, gotta get that roach quest in. And fix an issue that prevented players from interacting with objects required to complete the would you like some flies with that daily quest. All right. For class changes, Mage fixed the problem with Focus Mage being usable while not talented into it. Okay, sorry. Fixed a problem with Focus Magic being usable while not talented into it. Yeah, we don't want that. Living Bomb critical strikes will no longer trigger Ignite. It did not trigger Ignite in original Cataclysm, as even its final detonation was considered periodic damage. So, that's fine. Let's make things correct, the way that they were, not the way that they should be. Shaman Flame Tongue Totem will no longer stack with other spell power increasing effects, and Warlock Drain Life will no longer turn its primary target permanently green until they log out. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So there's some older patch notes in here. There's just a couple things that I wanted to point out. One is Dawn of the Infinite end bosses should now drop Awakened crests, which is really good. If you are trying to get some Awakened crests and you run Dawn of the Infinite in Mythic 0, you'll get your Awakened crests. In Tailoring, fixed a bug where blue silk lining was not granting more mastery for equipping a second item embellished with blue silk and lining while the buff was already active. This one's weird because this one, and then there's another one where it double stacks, but basically, yeah, these things weren't buffing properly, so you wasted an embellishment basically. So looks like they fixed the bug, which is great to see. And then one other thing is Tyven woos when summoned like a good boy. See, that's how it should be. You have a doggo mount. Your doggo mount should do a little wolf howl. Ooh. Good boy. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good stuff. All right. There's a bunch of other hotfixes on here, but yeah, I'll put links to all the hotfixes in the show notes. But I just wanted to point out some of the more kind of impactful ones. The thing with WoW currently is we used to get hotfixes with patches, and those patches would get released, and it was like, okay, here's a big deal, here's a patch, and here are all the hotfixes in it. Now we get hotfixes multiple times a week. It's actually really interesting to see how well Blizzard has done at kind of keeping the game. People who say that Blizzard doesn't care about WoW, the number of changes on here, they can't just fix everything the day it's found out. Just because they figured out, oh, there's an issue, doesn't mean they can fix it right away. It takes time. You got to go in, you got to figure out the code issue. You got to rewrite it. You got to debug. You've got to test. You've got to validate. You got to do all these things, and then you can release it to the players. So if they're not doing that, then they're not doing their job. This is what we're paying the cash shop money for is the game these hotfixes to be implemented multiple times a week rather than a couple months in between hotfixes. We literally used to go months before stuff would get fixed. So anyway, all right. That's going to do it for this week in World of Warcraft. Let's move on to something new.
Let's talk about something new.
Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about this WoW remix. So this is coming out on Thursday, May 16th. It's a game mode that is available to any player with a World of Warcraft subscription, or you can start, even if you don't have a active subscription, you can still get up to level 20. So basically what it is you level up through Mists of Pandaria, you do all the quests like normal, you do the dungeons, you do everything. You start at level 10, you go through a level 70. Okay, everything scales. The difference here is that we're going to get power-ups while we level that are going to make the gameplay more speedy and more interesting and just hopefully more fun. So we only got a very brief moment to test this on the PTR, and then it was gone. So everything that we have is from data mining and from what occurred during that weekend. It was like 2 days that we got to see that. So there's a couple of things that are going to be part of this. Like I said, you can play this with a non-active subscription. You're going to be able to get a lot of transmog. You're going to be able to, once you get to level 70 and the event is over, you'll be able to move your character back to retail WoW for the War Within. So there's a lot that's going to happen as a result of this in terms of your character, in terms of your gameplay, in terms of what's going to happen in the future. But the long and the short of it is you can play this and you can do whatever you want and you can get the transmog or you don't have to, but this is a new game mode that is going to run through August. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is your character will be on your existing WoW server. Your character can be part of your guild. You could join a new guild, whatever you want to do. This is a real WoW character. This isn't like Plunderstorm. I don't want people to get confused and think, oh, it's like Plunderstorm where you're making a fake character. No, this is a real character that you will level up for real, and that when this event is over, it will be a real character that will graduate into the rest of retail. But during the event, they will be limited to the Mists of Pandaria remix content. So, what is the WoW Remix Mists of Pandaria content? Well, I'm glad you asked. So you're going to level through Mists of Pandaria, just like we did back in 2012. Yeah, 2012. So you'll start in the Jade Forest. You'll move to the Valley of the Four Winds, Cressarang Wilds. You'll head over to Kunlai Summit, Townlong Steppes, and finally the Dread Wastes. While we're doing that, we're also going to be able to go through some of the dungeons and some of the raids. So we'll get level up raids like we are getting currently in Season of Discovery. So at level 10, you'll be able to go through Jade Forest. That will include the scenarios of Greenstone Village, Brewing Storm, Theramor's Fall, and the dungeons of Temple of the Jade Serpent, Scarlet Halls, Scarlet Monastery, and Scholomance. Because remember, those were all redone in Mists of Pandaria. So the current Scarlet Monastery, the Scarlet Halls, Scholomance, that was released in 2012 with Mists of Pandaria. So from level 10 to 20, that's the only content that will be available. Now remember, all of this content scales. So you could do the Jade Forest and do every single quest, and if you're level 26, it's still going to scale with you. It's not like you'll out-level the zone. All right. At level 20, we will unlock Valley of the Four Winds, Krasarang Wilds, and the 5.1 Landfall campaign. So this was something that was released in a patch. There was no new raid content in that patch. It was all like daily quests and things like that. This was before world quests. So we're going to get some new scenarios. The Unga Ingu, Domination Point, Lion's Landing, A Little Patience, and Dagger in the Dark. So yeah, this is interesting that they're releasing the .1 content, the quest content updates. This is like a storyline quest that's going to be released at level 20. We'll also be able to add Stormstout Brewery to our dungeon list. At level 25, we're going to add Kunlai Summit, which was going to give us the Arena of Annihilation, Brewmoon Festival, and Crypt of Forgotten Kings scenarios, and the Shadowpan Monastery dungeon. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because we're going to get the Mogushan Vaults raid at level 25. So it really is going to be a level up raid. We're not even halfway through, and we're already in a raid. At level 30, we're going to add Townlong Steps, the Assault on Zanvest scenario, and the Siege of Nizao Temple dungeon. At level 35, we'll add the Dread Wastes zone and the Heart of Fear raid. So again, another level up raid, this time at level 35. The Mogushan Vaults raid will scale, so you can still continue to run that. And I believe these raids are going to have a 1-day lockout period. So you'll be able to run the raid once per day. Okay, level 40, we're going to get Veil of Eternal Blossoms. The scenarios are going to be Battle on the High Seas, Blood in the Snow, Dark Heart of Pandaria, and Secrets of Ragefire. The dungeons will be Mogushan Palace and Gate of the Setting Sun. And the Terrace of Endless Spring raid will be available at level 40. All right. 45, Isle of Giants and the Timeless Isle. So these were the two endgame, the two max level endgame zones that we went to run daily quests and to farm rares and to do all the stuff that we're all accustomed to doing in a max level endgame zone. And then at level 50, we'll get the Isle of Thunder, which was released in patch 5.2, in addition to the Throne of Thunder raid, which was also released in patch 5.2. And then finally, at level 60, we'll get Siege of Orgrimmar, which was released in the 5.4 patch. You'll remember that was the one that lasted for over a year. And then once we get to 70, we'll be able to do all of the raids on heroic mode. So leveling up will just be normal. But once you get to 70, you can do them on heroic and I guess get better gear. I'm not sure exactly how the gear is going to scale up to 70, but it's interesting how they're kind of pacing out the content across the level bands. I'm assuming we're not going to run out of content. I'm kind of thinking that we'll end up in we leveled too fast and there was too much content, but I guess we'll see. It says nothing in here about the farm, but I'm assuming that if you really want to go do your farm in the Valley of the Four Winds, that you probably can do that. So, creating your new identity. Create a new modern World of Warcraft character to undertake your adventures in Pandaria. Collect a variety of powerful new items and transmogs, and then take your transmogs with you when you continue your adventures in the War Within. All remix characters created during the event will convert to a standard character to play with modern World of Warcraft at the end. Yeah. So, make sure that you like your character's name, your race, your class. I tried a Warlock on the PTR and I hated it because I hate playing a Warlock. That's why I don't have a level 70 Warlock. So, All right. This is where it starts to get weird. New loot, new you. In World of Warcraft Remix, players have the opportunity to collect a variety of items from just about anywhere. Quests, chests, creatures, bosses, and more. New customizable items will be yours for the taking, and each item slot has their own unique identity with spell gem sockets. These sockets come with exciting turbocharged new abilities similar to trinkets. Each time you loot a new item, you'll have a chance for powerful new upgrades, allowing you to push the limits further and faster than ever before with uncapped progression. I'm not sure what that means. Uncapped progression, I guess it means you can just get more and more power. As you progress, you'll gradually become more and more powerful, as items also grant increased permanent stats. So this isn't like a buff that you get, like a Torghast type thing. No, you just get it, and that's now, you've got that. So it's not like it's something that's just going to last for the raid or for the dungeon that you're in. No, this is a power boost for this character. Don't worry if you slot a gem into a slot and want to remove it. You'll be able to add and remove gems easily. You'll also be able to use unraveling sands to transform unwanted items into bronze. Now, bronze is going to be the currency, and we'll get into that later. You'll find a new different type of gems to slot into your gears. Your adventure through Pandaria includes meta gems, tinker gems, and cogwheel gems. Here are a few examples of what you could find. So they give us 3 examples here. One is the Oblivion Sphere. Coalesce an orb of pure void that increases critical strike damage taken by enemies within 15 yards by 50% for 10 seconds. After 4 seconds, the orb explodes, inflicting shadow damage. Okay. So, if you kind of break down this tooltip, it's doing a couple different things. First of all, you're going to increase the critical strike damage taken by the enemies within 15 yards by 15% for 10 seconds. So within a 15-yard radius of you, enemies are going to, their critical strike damage taken is going to increase by 50% for 10 seconds. Okay. After 4 seconds, the orb explodes, inflicting shadow damage. So then you have AoE shadow damage that's going to go off. Okay. The next one is Sprint. Increases your movement speed by 70% for 8 seconds. Fits in a cogwheel socket. Okay, that's great. And then the third one is Sunstrider's Flourish. Equip your critical strikes erupt in a fiery explosion, inflicting fire damage to your enemies within 15 yards of your target. Okay, so again, it's another AoE damage. So, and this is a Tinker socket. So the different sockets are going to have different types of effects, and you're going to have a certain number of sockets so that you have to pick and choose what you want, but you'll have a lot of sockets. You'll have a lot. In addition to the sockets on your gear, you'll get the Cloak of Infinite Potential. And this is a permanent cloak that you'll get, and you'll add buffs to it. It says you'll also be able to earn an artifact cloak that gains permanent power increase as you play when you loot various threads of time. Infinite power achievements you earn on your strongest character will grant alternate characters a more powerful starting cloak, making leveling even faster. So your alts will get the advantages of this cloak that your main has put together. This is going to be crazy. First of all, the leveling is going to be accelerated like bananas. And then when you get an alt, they're going to start off with the leveling even more bananas. All right. So you'll be able to earn titles, transmogs, previously unreleased color variants of older mounts, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the real key here is, in addition to it being fun, is you're going to be able to get stuff. And one of the things that was found on the PTR, or I guess it was data mined, is that you'll be able to get the Tusks of Manaroth with some of the currency as a cosmetic item. You won't get the actual Tusks of Manaroth, but you'll be able to transmog them. So that's pretty cool if that's something that you've been trying to get. I know a lot of warriors out there who really want those, the Garrosh shoulder. But and it says that your achievements that you earn during the events will turn into feats of strength when the event ends, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So there's going to be places where you can go shop for gear. There's going to be, so if you get a piece of gear that you don't want, you can turn it into bronze. Bronze is your currency, and you'll get a couple of other currencies throughout your journey. But the long and the short of it is, any loot that you get, you'll be able to either use it or turn it into currency to get something that you want. And that something that you want might be a gear to make you do even better, more damage, or it could be transmog, it could be a mount, it could be, there's a lot of things that you can get. Now, you won't be able to do auction house. This is not a regular WoW account. This is just the WoW Remix event for Mists of Pandaria. And my suspicion is that we're going to see this happen again with Warlords of Draenor. So if this Mists of Pandaria thing is successful, which I'm assuming it will be because a lot of people are really excited about it, you'll be able to hopefully do the same thing with Warlords of Draenor and then Legion and then et cetera, et cetera. And if that's the way that Classic is going to go from here on out, I'm all for it. Okay, so this starts on Thursday, May 16th. Does it say what time it starts? It doesn't say what time it starts. It's probably going to start at 3 p.m. Everything starts at 3 p.m. Pacific time. But the key here is you're going to be able to do a lot of content by yourself because of these buffs that you're going to get, because of these sockets. As you level up, as you get more gear, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, which means you're going to be able to do things faster. You're going to be able to do more things by yourself. You'll probably be able to run dungeons by yourself. You might even be able to do some of the raids by yourself on normal. And I mean, it sounds like fun. I don't know. This is like one of those things that Blizzard has put out that you go, this has so much potential. And yeah, they could screw it up, but if they don't, this is going to be amazing. Amazing. So much fun. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really hoping that, like I said, this is a successful event and that people are really happy with the rewards and with the transmogs. They're really happy with the combat system, with all these buffs. Hopefully it's not like a Legion legendary type thing where you go, well, this is going to suck unless I get this one piece of loot that I can't seem to get, and so I might as well just not even play. I hope we're not going to get into that type of situation, but you know, we'll see. Most of these power-ups look really cool. Most of the gear looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. You're only going to get the remix gear. There's nothing normal in this. It's all custom just for this event. Like I said, no auction house, none of that. You can join your guild, your existing Dragonflight guild, or you can join a remix guild, whatever you want to do. But yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully you have a good character name saved, and I'll see you in Pandaria. All right, let's move on to the weekly rant.
It's time for the weekly rant.
All right, this week we're going to do something a little different. Instead of doing the normal weekly rant segment, we're going to talk about we're going to do an add-on spotlight. This was the suggestion that was given to us by a listener, and I think it's a pretty good one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a spotlight on my favorite World of Warcraft add-on, and probably most people's favorite World of Warcraft add-on, and that is weak auras. So let's talk about what weak auras is and what weak auras isn't. First of all, weak auras is a kind of interface into the game. It's got the ability to hook into various aspects of World of Warcraft and do things within the game environment. And what I mean by that is you can do a lot of things in WoW using add-ons, using code. There's lots of ways that you can do that. What weak auras has done is they have made that a accessible and modular format, for lack of a better term there. I'm like, I don't know how to exactly frame that. Basically, they've given you an interface where you can go in and you can use the game interface. Well, I'll explain it with some practical examples. Okay. First of all, if you have a buff that when you get a buff on your character, it shows up in your upper right corner of your screen or wherever you've moved your buff bar, but generally that the default is the upper right corner of the screen. You'll see that buff. It has a timer on it. It might say 2 minutes. Okay, great. That's all the information you need. I have the buff. I know how long it's going to last. The problem is it's easy to lose track of that. So what Weak Auras does is it gives you the ability to re-display that buff in a different way. So the buff in the upper right corner doesn't go away, but Weak Auras will show you maybe a bar that has the bar moves, and as the bar moves, it shows you how much longer you have on your buff. You can make that as big or as small as you want. You can put whatever text you want on it. You can have the timer show, you can have it blink, you can have it glow, you can have it make a sound. You can do all of these things within the Weak Aura interface. All it's doing is it's going into the World of Warcraft code that is available to add-on authors and making these changes for you. So all you have to do is click some buttons and do some check boxes, and boom, boom, easy, and it's done. And there you go. Now you've got your little bar that shows up in the middle of your screen so that you don't forget, hey, my buff is almost out. Oh, I've got 2 seconds of this buff left. I better rebuff. Well, so you don't forget, it's going to actually make a noise because you configured it that way. Or it's going to blink, or it's going to start bouncing, or it's going to spin in circles. In other words, Weak Auras is a very powerful mod that allows you to have all sorts of things show up on your World of Warcraft screen or your speakers. But it's not just having a buff show up on your screen. That's a very basic example. One of the things that I use Weak Auras for very often is to have icons pop up on my screen when I have certain spells that become available. So let's say I'm playing my monk and I want to know when Rising Sun Kick is available for me to use, because it's not always available. It has a 10-second cooldown. But when it is available, I want to be able to use it. So I have it pop up when it's available. It pops up on my screen, and I get to use it. If I am playing my Fury Warrior and I use my Whirlwind, which makes me AoE multiple targets. So my next 4 attacks will hit all nearby targets, or I think it's reduced damage above 5. I can have a Weak Aura that shows me how many attacks I have left to do AoE damage. It'll pop up on the screen, and I can have that number show up. And when I get to 1, I can have it play a sound that tells me, hey, you needed Whirlwind again, so you can AoE again. That's the sort of things that Weak Auras can do at a very basic level. At a very high level, Weak Auras is extraordinarily powerful. So powerful to the point that Blizzard actually nerfed Weak Auras specifically by making some of the boss abilities undetectable by Weak Auras. Now, this also affected Deadly Boss mods, but Deadly Boss mods, it's doing one thing, which is, here's the ability, here's how long until it comes back, here's how long it's going to last, blah, blah, blah. And here's your notification. Weak Auras can do a lot more than that because it can interact with game items. So there's a Weak Aura, for example, that if you want to put targets on, raid targets on mobs that maybe have a cast that needs to be interrupted, it'll do that automatically for you. If you have a Weak Aura that maybe puts a highlight on the ground that you can see, or puts the little raid marker on the ground, so here's the area we need to run to. These are all things that you can do with Weak Auras, but Blizzard had to go through and nerf some of these things because it was too powerful. It was giving guilds an advantage. The top end guilds like Echo and Liquid, they actually have people who are paid by these guilds to write Weak Auras for them. And when they've killed the Race to World First boss, they will release their Weak Aura packs. Because, we've done it, and so now we can tell everyone else how we did it. So Weak Auras is more than just, hey, you can use this spell now. It will show you boss abilities. It will show you, there was a Weak Aura that you could use for, if you remember the Razageth fight, when you had these people get this charge and these people get this other charge, and if they cross paths, they're going to make an explosion, so they can't. And so it would actually show you which side you needed to go on, so that everybody was on the correct, the people with this charge were on this side and people with that charge were. There was a literal Weak Aura to do that, and it popped up a big arrow on your screen to tell you, go this way or go that way. there's a lot that WeakAuras can do. They can interact with the game. They can interact with your moves that you're doing as a player. They can interact with the targets and what the targets are doing. They can interact with your teammates and what your teammates are doing, your pets, just the environment. There's so many things that it can do, and it's so powerful that, like I said, Blizzard had to nerf it. So for the Farak fight, Blizzard actually had to go in and make certain things undetectable by WeakAuras and by deadly boss mods. And so WeakAuras could not say, hey, Farak's about to do this move, because it was private. It was hidden. Which, that's a whole different topic for conversation. But just the fact that Blizzard felt the need to do that was, I think it was important that we're at this point in the life cycle of the game. Because I feel like WeakAuras is one of those add-ons that it starts slow, but it ramps up really fast. And there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of configurations that you can do with WeakAuras, using special code and using special information. It digs deep into the heart of the game files. It can tell what quests you've done. It can tell timing on certain things. It has so many capabilities that are built into WeakAuras, and then people go in and customize it even further. So the reason that I wanted to bring up WeakAuras here is because I have been using WeakAuras for a long time, and I've been writing my own WeakAuras. And I had a conversation with someone the other day who didn't know, they knew about WeakAuras, and they knew that WeakAuras was a thing, and they've copied other people's WeakAuras in the past, but they didn't know how to write their own WeakAura. And I said, it's actually really easy to do. And so I was trying to explain it, and I thought, well, let me do this. Let me bring this up during the podcast, which I'm doing right now. Hello. And then I'm going to do a video, which I will release onto the YouTube, which is going to detail how to make your first WeakAura, maybe your first 5 WeakAuras. We'll show you some really basic WeakAuras and how you can do them, because I feel like it's important for people to know how to do these things. It makes WoW so much easier if you have the information that Blizzard is not providing to us. You can play WoW without having a WeakAuras. That's absolutely possible. It's no problem. But if you want to achieve at that highest level, you're going to be better off with WeakAuras. Yes, I know people compete at high level without WeakAuras all the time, but it's just why would you not take advantage of something that's going to give you that advantage? Just to be stubborn, it doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to kind of talk about it, and I don't want to go into a full explanation on the podcast, because showing something like this, I feel like it's a very visual medium. And so I'll show some WeakAura examples, and I'll show some of the more complicated things that WeakAuras can do. And I really feel like it's something that everybody needs to know, at least the basics of how WeakAuras work and how to do a WeakAura. So, all right. That being said, that'll wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. It's always fun and interesting to get on the microphone and talk to everybody, and just, kind of get my feelings out there for World of Warcraft and Blizzard and really the gaming industry as a whole in some cases. So, all right. If you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me at denethar1@gmail.com. Or, like I said, I will put a link to the Discord in the show notes, or you can reach me at Twitter. I am at Denethar. So, but definitely, if you want to sign up for the Discord, I would really appreciate it. Like I said, it's going to be dead for the first couple of weeks as people start to find out and people start to get on it. But I do think that it's going to help grow the podcast. I'm really having fun, and I have noticed that there are a lot more people listening to the podcast than there were even just a few months ago. I'm certainly not achieving any big numbers by any sort of stretch of the imagination, and I have no delusions of grandeur. I know this isn't going to go anywhere huge, but I would love to interact with some people who enjoy talking about World of Warcraft and maybe kind of have the same sensibilities as I do. So if you're listening to the podcast and you'd like to engage with me or with any of the other listeners of the show, I definitely would suggest signing up for the Discord. Don't be frustrated. There won't be a lot of talking. I'll try to talk to people as they show up, but starting a community is tough, and it's not always going to go well. It might just be me and my buddy sitting in Discord for a couple weeks, but you know what? If you want to show up, don't feel bad, and I'll be happy to say hello. All right. That'll do it for the show. Oh, sorry. I just want to point out the Twitch TV /Denethar01 and YouTube at Denethar01. Those are my 2 video channels. So check out YouTube for the Week Aura video coming within the next week or so. And I will be doing some Twitch, probably some Season 4 and some WoW Remix thrown in there. So definitely check that out. All right. Thank you for listening. Be good to each other out there. Remember, that's a real person sitting in that chair on the other side of the monitor. So be nice. Don't insult healers who are obviously trying to learn how to play their class. You know what? You either offer them some assistance or say nothing and just go your merry way. That doesn't hurt to say nothing. The only thing that's hurtful is to be mean. So, all right. Take care, all. Be good to each other. Make sure to smile and have a good time. Have fun with each other. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.